Hello and welcome to another edition of Careers in Coffee during this 2020-2021 academic year. Thank you for being here with us today. And I want to welcome Nick from Open Sky Education, who will be joining me today just to discuss career opportunities with that company. So I hope you all have your coffee ready and we will get started with the conversation. Nick, to start things out, could you just tell me a bit of your background and a little bit about Open Sky?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am currently working as a talent acquisition specialist for Open Sky Education. My roles and responsibilities in the organization involve screening candidates, talking to teachers and other members of our organization or potential applicants for our organization, and getting a better idea of where we can place them. My background in general, I have a degree in psychology and human resources from Marquette University. And I originally worked for a larger company, Manpower Group Solutions in Milwaukee. And I came to Open Sky because I actually wanted to have a bigger impact on my local community. And I wanted to actually see the impact of the work that I was doing. And just to give a little bit more of a background on Open Sky Education in general. So we're a non-for-profit organization that is really dedicated to this idea that we have where we want to teach to the whole child or the whole student. Oftentimes we actually like to refer to our mission as the three C's of Christ, college, and character. So really teaching our students and kids in low income settings about faith-based morality, making good decisions, and things like that to really kind of help prepare them for the next steps, not even in just their education, but for their life in general. So we do this in actually a number of different areas. We serve our biggest region though, and where we're based out of is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But we also do serve some schools that are located in St. Louis, Missouri and Phoenix, Arizona as well. So yeah, I mean, that's just a little bit of a background on who we are. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So for when you say you're a position specialist, what kind of positions do you typically recruit for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we recruit for pretty much, I would say pretty much anything you can think of that is involved with a school. So we recruit largely teachers, teaching assistants. We recruit deans, if necessary, principal positions from time to time. We also recruit custodians, office managers, even people who want to work on the school operations side of things. So people who are interested in making sure that our schools are running smoothly, we recruit for those as well. So those are probably the primary positions that we recruit for on a daily basis.
And you said the headquarters is Milwaukee, and that's where most of your schools are located as well?
That's correct. Yep, we serve 6 schools in the Milwaukee area. So it's 5 K through 8 schools, and then we have a high school. And then we have 1 K through 8 school that is in Racine, Wisconsin. And then we have 4 schools in St. Louis and 4 schools that are in Phoenix, Arizona. And those are all almost K through 8 as well.
Got you. I've been to Racine a few times. I work for a traveling basketball company in the summer, and we had a tournament. There's a technical school water in Racine, and their parking lot is on Lake Michigan, and we had a basketball tournament there. It was very, very picturesque.
You're probably thinking of Gateway Technical College.
Yep, correct.
Yep, okay. Yeah. I was just saying, I have a career fair with them in a couple months. So
oh, great.
That's awesome. Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. And yes, It is the prettiest, prettiest small technical school campus I've ever seen. It's a great view.
Yeah, that's great. So when you're going through, just to go into the technical side of the recruiting a little bit, when you're going through resumes for different opportunities, anything like that, what is something on a resume that stands out, makes an applicant stand out from the pack?
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a question I got a lot when I was in my undergrad too, or I know a lot of people would ask. And honestly, when it comes to, if you're going to be working for a non-for-profit organization, if you want to stand out to those employers in general, and not just my company, um, definitely talk about your service work. So if you are somebody who has gone on mission trips, if you are somebody who is active in the community and does service hours, works at food pantries, clothing drives, those things really, really stand out to non-for-profit employers, because it looks great to have like a background, obviously working for large corporations, and you get a lot of really great experience. But really the goal of our organization is to help people. And so when we see that on a resume, that just tells us, hey, that's you going out of your way, taking your own personal time to help others. And that's really what it's about with us. Every day we want to live through this mission of helping others, and being a resource for them in a low-income community. So if you're doing that on your own and you're not even getting paid for it, I mean, that looks great. We want to find people like that.
I think that's a great tie-in as well to our college, because so many of our students are drawn to Aquinas because they are mission focused. That's a big part of who we are. So that's a really great fit. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, definitely.
As far as the application process, is there a hiring season? Is there a certain time students should be looking for positions? Is it pretty cyclical?
I would say that in terms of the world of education, it is very, there's a very definitive time frame. I would say that like people are really looking for jobs. I would say that begins in probably late March to early April, and it goes all the way through, I would probably say the beginning part to middle part of August. That's when the bulk of education majors and a lot of people in the field of education are looking for work. Now, I will say I am always happy to have conversations with people in the off season, so to speak, in like late fall and like beginning part of winter, in terms of like opportunities. I will say that the opportunities then are a little bit more, a little bit more specific, and there's not quite of like a variety or selection, since we've already kind of filled our needs, and hopefully we wouldn't have any we wouldn't have like a ton of openings, right? During the school year, we want to make sure there's a qualified teacher in every classroom. But yeah, I would say that around like April, beginning of April to middle to late part, or the middle part of August, that's really when the bulk of our recruiting, and that's when we really call it like our recruitment season.
Gotcha. Awesome. So we talked a bit about this on resumes, but as far as college majors, what majors do you typically look for? Is there anything a student could do, just academic standpoint, to help them stand out? Could you just talk on that for a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, one of the reasons why I wanted to connect with Aquinas in the first place is actually because the rules for working at charter schools in Wisconsin are actually and the reason why I make the Wisconsin pitch specifically for Aquinas is because of the fact that these are our Christian schools, and also you actually do not need a teaching certificate to work at charter schools in Wisconsin. The only requirement that we do want is that you have a bachelor's degree, and your employment past 3 years with us would be contingent upon you receiving like your teaching certification in the state. But if you want to work for us for maybe just 2 years and get some teaching experience under your belt, or work as a teaching assistant, as long as you have that bachelor's degree, you are good to go. So, I think that one of the things we look for, all sorts of majors. I mean, it's not even just education. One of our best teachers at one of our Wisconsin schools, their background is in religious studies. And they originally worked as like a Sunday school teacher. So, I mean, we get religious studies majors, psychology majors, people with sociology. I think we even have like a couple criminology majors in there too. So honestly, we get a lot of like liberal arts college degrees, that that actually end up working really well at our schools. I think it's really just about the dedication to the mission and like Christian oriented work that actually goes a really long way in working for, working for our schools in general.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great to hear. Thank you. As far as the school districts in the Milwaukee area, are they mostly inner city schools? Are they, I don't know. I know a little bit about Milwaukee geographically, but not a ton, just about what the city's like. Could you just talk about the city a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the reasons why our schools exist is because of the fact that, unfortunately, one of the sad realities about Milwaukee is that even though it is a great city, and it's a city I have come to really love over the past 8 years that I have lived there, we are the most segregated city in the United States. So we serve a lot of communities in the African American community who don't have as who are in areas where the public school system might have not have helped them, or they might have felt like they weren't able to express their faith in the public school system. And the disparity in Milwaukee public schools, there's a lot of schools in Milwaukee public schools that are great, but then there are also a lot that are definitely lacking in terms of the standards that these kids deserve. I think that our schools exist because we work in some of the areas where these kids may not have the chance to go to a Christian school. And so we work in predominantly the lower income neighborhoods in Milwaukee, probably on, I would say on like the west, geographically, it's like the west/northwest side of Milwaukee. That's really where a lot of low income neighborhoods are. And so we serve those communities in particular. In fact, one of the schools that we have, and we do this on purpose because we want to give them that great education. One of the schools we serve is in a neighborhood called 53206. There is actually a documentary about it where it is the zip code in the United States with the highest rate of incarcerated Black males in the US. And I believe it is 67%, 67 to 70% of Black males in that area will be incarcerated at some point in their life. So we want to obviously break that cycle and provide them with a great Christian foundation and teach them about breaking that cycle and being successful in the future. So that's yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that information. I was going to mention actually to you, we have an Aquinas alum who works for the Milwaukee Bucks organization.
Yes.
And he's been there for a few years, and he just says great things about the area. So I know just in general, Milwaukee is a destination, not a place to stop by. So.
Oh yeah, what's funny is that Milwaukee. I talk about those things, but it's like Milwaukee is like. Honestly, I'm someone who came from Madison, Wisconsin, and I think a lot of people look at Milwaukee as like Chicago's backup or like Minneapolis's backup. But it's so funny because I kind of had that mentality too, coming from Madison, even like, a city in my own state. And when I went to Milwaukee and I ended up going to Marquette, I fell in love with it within a month. I absolutely love Milwaukee. You will never run out of things to do. It's affordable. And so if you want to be close to really three like big areas of activity in like the Midwest, I mean, it's in between Green Bay, Chicago, Madison. It's not a super far drive from like Minneapolis either. I mean, it's like maybe half a day. So
I actually, from Grand Rapids, I want to say it took me 4 hours. I had to drive there for a basketball tournament one time, and I was shocked at how quick I got through. I mean, we're really 2.5 hours from Chicago, and then it's not far up the road to get there.
No, not at all.
Not bad. Yeah.
It's very easily accessible, and you can get to a lot of places very quickly. But Milwaukee's great. I love Milwaukee, and I think if I joined this organization because I want to make it even better.
Awesome. Well, that was basically my entire list of questions. So I really want to just thank you for your time and your answers. Just as a way of wrapping up, if a student was interested in applying, or I know you said we're a little before recruiting season, so what steps should they take to reach out to you? What's the best way to contact the organization? Just if they were interested in next steps, what would that look at this point in time?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are interested in applying for this organization, you can visit us at openskyeducation.org/careers. Or if you want to even just reach out to me directly or my coworker on our talent acquisition team directly, we could be reached at the email recruitment@openskyeducation.org. That will go to a general email, and my coworker and I are pretty good about trying to get back to people within at least a day or two. But yeah, and then we can kind of set up a phone call and talk from there.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I'll make sure our students get that contact info, and we'll be able to find you. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate it.